what you reading over there?
This really informative article about organ donation. Are you an organ donor?
I'm not actually. Are you?
No, I'm not. But it actually says in here that there's a huge percentage of people who are signed up to be organ donors and those who like actually would. I wonder why.
Yeah, maybe it's because people are uneducated. I mean, I don't really know much about organ donations.
It could be, and I think people read a lot of TV shows. I watch a lot of TV shows like Grey's Anatomy
Yeah.
that just don't really portray the correct image of organ donation.
Yeah, I think like people think that like they take the organs like I don't know, they kind of fasten the track of death and then they just take the organs right out of you like as soon as they know you're an organ donation because they need to save them. But I don't really know how it actually like works.
I think so too. I know that I watched this one episode once. It was okay, so this person wasn't an organ donor, but there's such a small time period between the time that you can donate and those organs to be viable.
Oh,
And
to like harvest them?
yeah, to harvest them. So this person was brain dead, and this doctor came up to the family and was like, "Hey, like we really like could use these organs." I was like explaining the like benefits of it and how it would save so many lives to this family, but this family hadn't fully grasped the idea that their family member was dead yet.
Yeah.
So it was really challenging for them to accept that, and I remember they got really angry at the doctor.
Yeah. Because you can't like tell them to decide too fast, but also like if they do decide to be organs, like you want them to be viable before.
Yeah. I wonder what like other reasons are for people not to sign up to be organ donors.
I know like some people don't want to be organ donors because they don't sign up to be organ donors because they want their family to decide because at that point like they're obviously no longer here, so like it should be up to the family whether they're okay with donating the organs because that's something that they would like a process they would have to watch or like know happen. So
Yeah, and I think some people also like since they are worried about maybe the doctor not giving their 100% at it,
yeah,
they want their like next of kin or like maybe family member to like make that decision
yeah,
so that they can make sure that the doctor did
Yeah.
100% and tried as hard as they could before they donate their body parts.
I think also there's a different doctor who actually like takes care of the family and that who like takes out the organs. So I think most people think that like the doctor they're talking to is the one who's like rushing the process, but it's actually like a different person who like
Does
so it's not like
you know that's very true. I know
Yeah.
that's a misconception because of TV shows and because
Yeah.
people aren't educated
Yeah.
to do it. You know what's actually really cool? I was so the United States has like a really low donation rate, and the reason why is because in the United States, it's you have to put it on your like license or like you
Yeah.
have to register to be an organ donor. While I know some other countries, people actually like everybody is considered an organ
Mhm.
donor, and unless you specifically request not to be, then they just assume that you are.
Yeah, I know like I mean I'm kind of lazy about it too. Like I wouldn't go out and specifically say I'm an organ donor. So if maybe like I mean I don't think I have anything I feel like most people don't have anything opposed to it. They just don't want to go out and sign up to donate their organs because it's an inconvenience. But if it was something like that, the like turnout would definitely be a lot higher.
Yeah, the rates would be a lot higher. You know what? I think that's how I am too. Like when I first got my license, I didn't know much about it, so I
Yeah.
did not choose to be
Yeah,
an organ
same.
donor. But right now, I actually would do it.
I don't really see many downsides to it.
Yeah.
When they say like organ donation, is that like the number of successful transplants, or is that like the number of people who donate? Because what if there's like a lot of people who actually donate, but like the number that they are saying
They
is like
actually take those organs.
Yeah.
Actually,
like what's the percentage of successful like the body accepts the organ? Is that
versus
what is considered
the
like an
amount.
organ transplant? So what about child donation? Can children decide to donate their organs, or is that something that their parents do?
I mean, I don't see why children would not be able to donate their organs, especially if it was to like save a sibling.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's just something that the parents would have to decide, right? Like,
Yeah, because obviously the child's not old enough, or maybe they don't understand like the complications of like donating
of
yet.
donating. But you know, I think it gets really complicated when parents decide to like use one child and give their organs to another child.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Because that can be a lot of emotional damage for both the child and the parent, both children really,
Yeah. To make it seem
that are
like
involved.
one child like was only needed to save the other child, and then maybe the child who needed the donation feels guilty for taking it from the first child.
Yeah, I feel like the second child would be like, I was like, I know that there are parents who specifically have a second child to
Yeah.
save their
Their
first child. Yeah,
That's kind of
and I feel like that's really hard.
that brings up a big
Understand.
ethical issue on
Yeah.
like whether you can have a child just to save another
Save the
child.
life of another one. And I think there's a movie about it, but obviously that may not be
Be true, yeah.
correctly accurate. But I think there's a movie about it, and I think it's a big emotional damage to be like, well, I was created only to save my brother or
Yeah.
sister. I think that's a lot of emotional damage on this child.
Yeah.
It could be emotional damage for the parents too.
Yeah, I think some parents would think that like this is their only option, which kind of like makes you think about thinking like the pros and cons, or like weighing the benefits of like would you rather like have a child to like save another child, but like it was kind of an unwanted child, or like
Yeah,
potentially like lose one child. I don't know,
and
kind
to
of
put either of your children
under
in,
that kind of stress.
I cannot imagine how a parent would feel doing that.
Did you know one individual's organ can help save up to 8 people, while tissue donators can improve the lives of up to 50 people?
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. But actually, that brings up a really good point because I know some people are okay with like organ donation, but are really against tissue donation because they're so scared about like the doctors like taking out their eyeballs.
Yeah.
Like it's something that like really freaks them out. And I know some people who are organ donors actually just purposely put like not tissue donator.
Yeah,
So it's
that's interesting because I know people also they think like once they get their organs donated that their body's like cut up or like dismantled or whatever. But it is possible to have like an open casket ceremony, I guess. Like your body looks perfect. Like no one would ever know you're an organ donor.
people.
Yeah, and actually the way the organ transplant or whatever list works is that like it's not actually like a list of like 1 through a gajillion. It's like it's a pool of people who need organs for some reason, and whatever organ comes in, they find out its blood type and it's like who it came from and all of like the logistics, and then they kind of narrow down like the best possible matches and like within the closest area.
Problem that could arise from organ donation is the time when the person decides to be an organ donor or not.
Yeah, like what happens when you're at your bedside? Like, can you make that decision?
Like,
What
are
if
you
you're not competent enough?
competent
Yeah,
enough? Like, what if somebody just did not want to be an organ donor their entire life, and then like 5 minutes before death, like they decide to be an organ donor? Like, do we know if that's really what they want? Like, are
Yeah.
those their true feelings?
I'm sure-
or not.
I know there's like a lot of like psychological like evaluation that they go through, but what if they actually change their mind, and like
Yeah.
at what point does like their next of kin get to decide, or what if their next of kin overrides their decision? How do they really
Yeah.
decide what to?
And then to that point, would the doctor feel like they owed more to this person that maybe was an organ donor their entire life and then maybe changed their mind, or to the next person that whose life they might save?
So,
I mean,
yeah, you have
that
to
could
weigh
be
the.
an ethical dilemma, and you have to like weigh those.
I think that's called utilitarianism.
I think it is.
Yeah,
So-
weighing the costs and benefits. Is that what it is?
Yeah, to try to promote the greatest benefit.
Yeah.
And I think that that would be a really difficult decision on the doctor to make. And if they would allow the next of kin to make this decision, if they would allow the person who is just about to die to make this decision, or
Yeah.
who they would, or if they would make the decision on their own in order to promote the greatest
Yeah.
benefit.
Is that really like? Can the doctor make that decision? I don't like. How much power does the doctor have to make that decision over like the actual person's body? You know?
That is true. And I feel like if somebody was originally signed up to be an organ donor, I think without like proper documentation, they
Couldn't like take it
out.
back. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or would it be okay if they just simply told their doctor, like, hey, I don't want to be an organ donor anymore.
Like,
And
is
then-
that enough?
Yeah, would that be enough?
That's interesting.
I mean, that's a really ethical dilemma that I'm sure the doctors probably face all the time. And you know what? It could even be the opposite way. It could be somebody who never wanted to be an organ donor
And decided
and
last minute,
decided
like,
last minute. Do we know that that's their true feelings?
maybe they reached a very, like, content state of their life where they decided, like, those organs would be more beneficial for someone else
to
than themselves.
somebody else. I don't know. Personally, I feel like if that person were to make that last minute decision, I feel like most doctors would probably go in the direction that would benefit the next person with those organs used. But of course, I'm not sure. The doctor may not do that.
I just through fact, organs go to people who didn't take care of theirs.
Fact?
Myth.
Oh my gosh! No way.
Organs actually go to people who have developed diseases or like have natural organ failure or whatever. And actually, only less than 5% of people who need transplants or are awaiting them have destroyed their own organs from like
Over drinking,
Over
alcoholism,
smoking,
smoking.
that's yeah.
Like with liver transplants, for example, like if someone has destroyed their liver because they just drink too
Do
much,
they get put back on the list once they ruin their second liver? Like what
Exactly.
do they?
and I like personally, and this is a personal opinion, I don't believe that they should.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But I know that some people might be like, well, they changed. So, myth or fact, if I do not register as an organ donor, my organs and tissues will not be donated.
Fact.
All right, so with that donor designation, there are legal authorized representatives, like that's usually a spouse or maybe a relative or someone close to the person that is offered the opportunity to decide for you if they want your organs to be donated or not. So, if you really want your certain wishes fulfilled, you need to write a designation on your license, on your state, on your identification card, and you need to talk to your family about the decision that you make because this is a very important decision.